You believe you are a rational agent. You believe your decisions are born from logic, comparison, and a clear understanding of value. You are wrong. You are a puppet dancing on a string of numbers you didn't even choose. You are a victim of the anchoring effect, a cognitive bias so primal and so deep that it bypasses your conscious mind entirely. The moment you see a number, any number, it becomes a psychological gravity well. It pulls every subsequent thought, judgment, and valuation toward it. The architects of consumerism, the masters of the global market, know that if they can set the first number, they own your reality. They don't need to convince you that a product is good. They only need to make it look cheap compared to a lie. The Nobel Prize-winning duo Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky exposed this flaw in the human operating system decades ago. They proved that even a completely irrelevant number, like the last 2 digits of your social security number or a random spin of a wheel, can anchor your estimate of the value of an unknown object. Your brain is a lazy machine. It does not calculate value from zero. It looks for the nearest landmark. In the vast, confusing ocean of the modern marketplace, the first price tag you see is that landmark. You are not buying a product. You are buying a relationship to a number. Consider the MSRP, or the manufacturer's suggested retail price. In the United States, this is the foundation of the great retail scam. That high price you see crossed out with a red line, $499 slashed to $149, is not a fact. It is a ghost. It is an anchor designed to freeze your critical thinking. The moment you see $499, your brain accepts it as the truth of the object's worth. When you see $149, you don't see a high price for a piece of plastic. You see a $350 profit for yourself. You feel like a genius, a hunter who has outsmarted the system. In reality, you are the prey, happily walking into a trap because the entrance was decorated with a 70% off sign. You didn't save money. You paid exactly what they wanted you to pay, but you did it with a smile. The philosopher Jean Baudrillard spoke of the hyperreal, a world where the simulation of reality becomes more real than reality itself. The anchor is a piece of hyperreality. The original price doesn't need to exist in the real world of manufacturing or logistics. It only needs to exist in your mind. We no longer trade in goods. We trade in the signs of value. When you buy a luxury watch anchored at $20,000, you aren't buying a tool to tell time. You are buying the psychological weight of that number. You are wearing an anchor on your wrist, and you believe it makes you float. The elite minds, the true architects of power, understand that the first person to speak in a negotiation often controls the outcome. This is because they set the anchor. If you are in a boardroom or a salary negotiation and you wait for the other side to name a figure, you have already lost. You are now negotiating within their reality. You are trapped in the prison of their first number. The elite practice aggressive re-answering. If a number is thrown at them that they don't like, they don't argue with it. They reject it entirely. They shift the conversation to a completely different dimension. They know that to win, you must refuse to be a passenger in someone else's mental ship. Arthur Schopenhauer argued that the world is will and representation. Your will to get a good deal is being manipulated by the representation of a fake discount. You are being led by your desires into a desert of false choices. Think about the Decoy Effect, used in every coffee shop and software subscription in America. They show you a small for $5, a medium for $8, and a large for $9. The $5 small is the anchor. The $8 medium is the decoy. Its only job is to make the $9 large look like an incredible value. For just $1 more, you get so much more. You didn't want the large. You didn't need the large. But the anchor and the decoy forced your brain to choose it, to avoid feeling stupid. You are being played like a cheap instrument by people who understand your brain better than you do. The philosopher Michel Foucault spoke of power knowledge, the idea that power is not just about force, but about how information is structured. The price tag is a form of power knowledge. It dictates what is normal, and what is premium. When a restaurant puts a bottle of wine for $1,000 at the top of the menu, they aren't expecting to sell it. That bottle is an anchor. It makes the $100 bottle look reasonable. It changes the normal from $20 to $100 in a heartbeat. You spend 5 times more than you intended, and you feel standard rather than extravagant. You have been colonized by a number. In the United States, we are obsessed with the deal. But as Blaise Pascal noted, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. We cannot sit quietly because we are constantly being bombarded by anchors that trigger our loss aversion. We aren't afraid of spending money. We are afraid of missing out on the discount. We are terrified that if we don't act on the anchor now, we are losing potential value. This is the psychology of the Black Friday stampede. People who would never dream of violence will trample a stranger for a television. Not because they need the TV, send, dosed, because they need the TV, but because the anchor of the original price is screaming in their ears that they are losing $500 by not acting. It is a manufactured madness. The strategist Sun Tzu taught that all warfare is based on deception. The marketplace is a battlefield, and the anchor is the smokescreen. To break free, you must practice radical detachment. You must look at an object and perform a blind valuation. If you were in a forest and someone offered you this phone, this car, or this service, what would you give for it in terms of your own hours of life? Because that is the only true currency. The hours of your life you traded to earn that money. When you accept a fake anchor, you are letting a corporation decide how much your life is worth per hour. Think about the real estate anchor. A broker in Los Angeles or New York shows you 3 unacceptable houses for a high price. These are the anchors. Then he shows you a decent house for the same price. Suddenly, your brain explodes with relief. You think you have found a gem. You sign a 30-year mortgage based on 20 minutes of relief from a bad anchor. You have anchored your entire future, your freedom, and your labor to a decision made in a state of psychological manipulation. The elite do not look at listings. They look at the land, the materials, and the macro trends. They set their own anchor before they even talk to a broker. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard said that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. Anchoring is the cure for that dizziness. The world is too complex, so we grab onto the first number we see to stop the spinning. We want someone to tell us what things are worth because we are too afraid to decide for ourselves. To be elite is to embrace that dizziness. To be elite is to say, I do not care what you say, it is worth. I will decide its value based on my own sovereignty. Consider the social anchor of the digital age. You scroll through Instagram and see a life anchored in private jets, designer clothes, and perfect vacations. This is the new price tag for a good life. Because your life is anchored against this 0.1% reality, your own real, meaningful, and beautiful life feels like a discount or a failure. You are living in a state of permanent mental poverty because you have accepted an anchor you can never reach. This is the ultimate theft. They haven't just stolen your money, they have stolen your ability to be content. The writer Nassim Taleb talks about the bed of Procrustes, a mythical bed where the owner cut off the legs of guests who were too tall or stretched those who were too short to fit the bed perfectly. The anchor is the bed of Procrustes. Your reality is being stretched or cut to fit a number. If the number is $1,000, you will find reasons why the product is worth it. If the number is $10, you will find reasons why it is cheap. Your perception is not leading your judgment. The number is leading your perception. How do you break the chains? How do you join the 100,000 elite minds who cannot be manipulated? You start by realizing that every price is a negotiation, even if it's printed on a sign. You realize that savings is a marketing term, not an accounting term. You practice mental erasure. When you see a price, you mentally delete it and ask yourself, if this cost $1, would I want it? If it cost my entire life savings, what I wanted. Find the middle ground where the utility meets your soul, not where the discount meets your ego. Most people will finish this video and go right back to being anchored. They will see a sale and feel that dopamine hit. They will buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't like, all because a red tag told them they were saving money. They will live their lives as a series of reactions to numbers they didn't choose. They will die in a pile of discounted junk, never having owned a single thing that they valued for its own sake. But you have stayed until the end because you have felt the tug of the anchor and you are ready to cut the rope. You have realized that price is a story and you are ready to stop reading someone else's book. You are ready to reclaim your decision capital. You are ready to be the one who sets the anchor in your own life. The door to the elite is not on sale. It doesn't have a discount. It costs exactly what it's worth. Your absolute attention and your refusal to be fooled. This is the final secret. The world is trying to anchor you in smallness. It wants you to be anchored in average. It wants you to compare yourself to the herd so you feel safe in your mediocrity. But we are building something different. We are anchoring ourselves in mastery. We are anchoring ourselves in sovereignty. We are the 100,000. Subscribe to join the elite who set the price of their own existence. The numbers are a lie. The freedom is waiting.